in the music industry have a pretty big reputation, at least according to a lot of the record companies, that my reputation is primarily in pop music, rap, hip hop, you name it, anything that's in the popular area. But all my first influences were actually jazz, and they were at that time that was considered modern jazz or bebop jazz. But that's what I was really the most interested in when I was like a teenager. And it kind of grew from that into classical music, because I'm also interested in classical music, and that's what I mean by being so ironic. But when you think about jazz, there's a lot of jazz influences in music, or there's blues influences in jazz, and there's definitely a lot of blues influences in pop music, and of course in black music and hip hop, even in rap and so forth. So it's not that I don't understand what people are looking for, because what they really, really are looking for is emotional communication. And that's what music does for us anyway. Music is like a shortcut. It kind of gets us in touch with each other emotionally, and it doesn't matter whether you're black or white or Chinese or, German, Italian. Doesn't matter, when it's good music and when it's communicating emotionally, because we're all very much the same emotionally. So I suppose what it comes down to then is what we're looking for when we're engineers and we're working in mastering or when we're working in mixing. What we're really trying to do is trying to give the listener an emotional experience, a strong, very human, very emotional experience. And I suppose when it comes down to mastering now, that's what my specialty is. I'm not really a mixer. All I'm trying to do is kind of optimize that experience. I'm trying to heighten that experience. I'm trying to, through manipulation of the sound and so forth, trying to bring out something more from the music, something that's going to help that producer or that artist communicate even better with the listener what they originally intended. Because just like anything else, and all the mixers will tell you this, and artists and so forth, they start out with this nice ideal in mind, but they end up having to compromise. Now, if we can kind of like undo some of those compromises in mastering, and we can help the listener to get a more intimate, more complete experience, put it that way, maybe a more complete experience of what the artist is trying to communicate. Not that we can't make a mistake. Sometimes we make a mistake and we take it in a different direction than what the artist intended. And it's certainly a valid way to go, but actually what we're trying to do, though, is trying to help the artist and producer realize their dream. We have suggestions, and we try to get on the same wavelength as the artist or the producer. So I think what it comes down to is, even though I've got a deep interest in jazz and I've got a deep interest in classical, what it comes down to is that you have to realize that all of music is trying to do the same thing. It's trying to communicate emotionally. Now, jazz is good with one thing, classical is good with other things, maybe better than anything else in certain areas, and even dance music, if it's done right, it's going to be great. You're going to want to get up and dance. It's got the right feeling. It might not be that complicated, doesn't have to be that complicated. It might be very simple. It doesn't have a lot of range. It's going for one feeling, one emotion only. But if they do it well, that's what you want to play at your parties. That's what you want to play in the clubs. So what I'm getting at here is that you don't want to be prejudiced. You don't want to say, well, this music's better than that music, and so on and so forth. Because these people whatever kind of music they're involved in, if they really believe in it, they're going to be able to communicate some aspect of the human experience to you. So this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this an experience that's even a bigger and more effective experience than the way the music came into us. So that's what it comes down to with what I try to do, is I try to get on that wavelength. I try to open myself up emotionally to it. And this is the factor. I mean, if you're prejudiced, you're not going to be able to open yourself up emotionally to it and try to understand it emotionally. Because, you know, when I'm sitting at the console and I go to twist some knobs and stuff, I mean, you know, when I sit down, and I do this in my seminars too, I give seminars on mastering. A client brings in a master, I play the music. How do I know what to do? You know, do I just start twisting knobs? And then how do I know whether it actually means anything or not? So what it comes down to is I need to know, I need to be in touch with the music, whatever music I'm working with. I have to be in touch with it emotionally so that when I turn a knob, when I manipulate the sound in some way, I have to know if I'm making it a better experience, if it's affecting me more and more in a better way emotionally.